President Joe Biden has announced a ban on Russian oil and gas imports after a multi-day standoff with Congress. It's as US petrol prices hit a record high of $4.17 a gallon. Sky News Washington correspondent Annalise Nielsen filed this report.
With Republicans and Democrats united in Congress, President Joe Biden was left with no choice but to ban Russian oil imports as well as gas imports. But it lays bare the new crisis for the Biden administration in dealing with the rising cost of petrol as well as cost of living. When making the announcement, President Biden warned US oil companies there'll be repercussions for price gouging.
I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home. In coordination with our partners, we've already announced that we're releasing 60 million barrels of oil from our joint oil reserves. Half of that, 30 million, is coming from the United States. And we're taking steps to ensure the reliable supply of global energy.
However, national averages show while petrol prices have jumped since the invasion of Ukraine, petrol prices were rising well in advance of that too, mostly because of inflation and not, as President Biden is describing, as Putin's price hike. The president has also defended his administration's handling of crude oil production after reports his administration was engaging with Venezuela, Saudi Arabia and even Iran to shore up US oil supply.
It's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply not true. Even amid the pandemic, companies in the United States pumped more oil during my first year in office than they did during my predecessor's first year. We're approaching a record levels of oil and gas production in the United States, and we're on track to set a record of oil production next year.
Although that statement contradicts the data provided by the US Energy Information Administration, which shows last year's crude oil production was behind the previous year's. Congress has also come together on a major bill called the Omnibus Bill, which will not only prevent the latest threat of a government shutdown, but will also pump at least $12 billion worth of aid into Ukraine. Annalise Nielsen, Sky News, Washington, DC.